Utkarsh, can you briefly introduce yourself to me?
Sir, I'm Utkarsh Dwivedi and I was born in Sultanpur. And so I come from the district of Ayodhya. And so I did my 12th from DPS Indore. And then I did my graduation in mechanical engineering from VIT Vellore. And so after that, I immediately started preparing for the civil services. And so this is my third attempt and third interview.
Previous attempts, what happened, Utkarsh?
So I would say similar thing happened in both the attempts. So my one paper in the mains got damaged, and so I scored average almost similar marks in both the interviews. So I missed the cutoff narrowly both the times.
Okay, what was the score like?
Sir, in 2019 I scored 938 and missed the cutoff by 23 marks.
Interview score.
So 160 in 2019 and 157 in 2020.
Were you able to diagnose what went wrong?
Yes, sir. So I would say some responses were not, I would say, up to the mark. I was answering what I knew and not what I was asked. So, and I think, sir, I might have not been able to convince my candidature to the board.
Your home state is?
Sir, Uttar Pradesh.
Uttar Pradesh. What are the 5 major challenges before Uttar Pradesh as a state?
So I would say, firstly, it is law and order. Secondly, so I would say it has a history of communal tensions. Thirdly, sir, the socio-economic indicators are lacking, particularly in the health and education. And so fourthly, there is lack of industrialization. There is heavy dependence on agriculture as a source of income. So, sir, these are the challenges, major challenges, sir.
If you were made a district collector, what would be your priorities?
So I would say, firstly, the priority would depend on the district in which I am posted. But sir, the general priorities regarding health, education and basic amenities to provide to the people will remain the same, sir.
Did you take up work after graduating?
No, sir.
What was the reason?
So because I wanted to go for the civil services. So, sir, immediately as I graduated, I did not want to waste a single day to do a thing that I did not want to do.
How's the weather in Vellore?
So, I would say there are two kinds of weather in Vellore. So, either it's hot or it's very hot. So, and on top of that, it is very humid. So the weather is very draining, sir, I would say.
What is the reason that despite such a big market for electronic goods, companies are not willing to manufacture electronic goods in the country?
Sir, that will have to do with two things. Firstly, sir, per capita income. So we do have large market, but sir, in terms of per capita, we are around 138 or 139th position in the world. So buying capacity matters. Secondly, sir, I would say we are progressing on the ease of doing business. But sir, on few areas like contract enforcement, land acquisition, we still have a long way to go. So, sir, these are some of the reasons that hinders manufacturing electronics.
No, but Utkarsh, we have purchasing power problem is there, but by the sheer number of people that we are among the world's biggest electronics market. Broadly, you would say we'd be among the world's biggest electronics market. Secondly, the charm for electronics is very much there in the country. Then it's not because of the per capita income. There are other reasons. Can you think again and tell me why manufacturers are, you have given one point, but why manufacturers are not willing to manufacture in India as far as electronics is concerned?
So we do have logistical issues as well. Sir, our turnaround time at the shipment is twice as that happens in, say, Singapore. So their exports suffer too. And so recently the electronics manufacturing has taken a hit because of the shortage in the supply of chips, silicon.
What is the reason behind the shortage in supply of chips?
So I will have to look more into this, why there is shortage.
How can India emerge as a reliable partner in the global supply chain, given that we have seen the vulnerability of the world in depending on one single country? How can we make India a reliable partner in the global supply chain?
So what we first need is large industries for manufacturing, because the size of our manufacturing is very small. We have many dwarf industries, so that increases the cost of economies of scale. Secondly, so what we need is the implementation of the supply chain resilience initiative, which India, Australia, and Japan are working together. And so thirdly, I would say we should also focus on the productivity by increasing the skills of our people, because that is an area where India lacks.
Utkarsh, what does your name mean?
So it means to progress.
To progress. Do you think you have made progress in life?
Sir, I think I'm making progress, sir.
Utkarsh, the agriculture sector is in a distress. What is the reason behind the distress?
So, firstly, we have very small farms. So, we have small and marginal farmers comprising 86% of the total population of farmers. And so, secondly, I would say the purchasing power of farmers is low. So, they are quite not able to afford inputs like fertilizers and good seeds. So, the quality of product suffers. Thirdly, sir, it has to do with market and market mechanism. So there are issues in APMCs. So a lot of time they are not getting the required prices of the produce, and rather than selling, they simply dispose it off on the roads. So a lack of market as well as, sir, at the supply side issues, both are combining to increase the agriculture distress.
Utkarsh, do you think Indian government's policy on the Ukraine issue, the Russian invasion of Ukraine, does it dilute our idealistic approach to international relations?
So on the contrary, I would say it strengthens our idealistic approach on the international relations. So because one element of idealism is being non-aligned to any one power or the other. And currently, sir, we are not aligning with either with the pro-West or the Russian side. We are aligning with peace. So when we talk of ideas, we say we need to build a peaceful world. And that is where, sir, India's stand is.
We are aligned with peace, but we are a key component of being aligned with peace means condemning any sort of invasion. There is a clear invasion happening here. Then why do you think that we are being very idealistic and not taking any sides? We are being a bystander when an invasion is happening. So why do you not think that there is certain some digression from idealism?
So firstly, India still does not call it an invasion. Sir, it agrees with what Mr. Putin says, a special military operation. Because on the one hand, it does appear like an invasion, but on the other, there are also reasons to it in which Mr. Putin cannot be blamed, including the eastward expansion of NATO. So, sir, if India were to be in a position wherein, say, China deploys missiles along India-Nepal border, if Nepal comes in military compact with China, so even we will not sit back and watch. And so secondly, we are not taking sides because there is not a compelling need to take a side in this. Because since our interests are aligned with Russia on our continental sphere and our interests are aligned with USA in the Indo-Pacific sphere. So I would say India is, it appears it is a bystander, but we are keeping...
Do you think this could be a prelude to the Third World War?
Sir, as per the definition of World War, sir, I do not think many major powers directly being involved in this, because it is currently between Ukraine and Russia, even though there are arms supplies to Ukraine from the West. But sir, since Russia has not expanded into any NATO territory so as to cause a world war, I would still not say that we are moving towards a World War III.
Tell me, what is the biggest reason why it is believed that in this century we will not have a world war? Just one answer, one line answer.
So, because we have already seen the death and destruction caused by the two world wars. I think we do not want it again.
Is that the reason what can possibly prevent a world war? In this, before the Second World War, the world had already seen the death and destruction of World War I. There, even then, Second World War happened. Rarely has mankind learned from the past. There is another reason. You know the reason, but you are not saying it. What is the reason for that?
So I think another major reason is the availability of nuclear weapons that the countries have. So that creates deterrence.
What is the reason that in our neighborhood, Pakistan, we are unable to have a stable government?
So one of the reason is that there is lack of democratic culture in Pakistan. And one thing that is linked to it is the influence of the armed forces, the deep state. So, sir, that plays one player against the other. So secondly, Pakistan has a lot of ethnic diversity. And so they have not been very successful in reconciling various ethnic diversities. So, since no government actually gets a good majority in the parliament and there are coalitions, so there are defections based on power projections and what the army wants.
Utkarsh, what do you think is your biggest strength? Give me three strong qualities of yours.
So, firstly, I would say I'm not a person who gives up. At least I don't give up without trying or easily. Secondly, sir, I would say I possess a good amount of patience. And so, thirdly, I would say, sir, I have certain leadership qualities. Like I'm able to manage, I am able to reconcile differences among people.
What are your biggest weaknesses?
Sir, firstly, I would say I am an overthinker. I tend to overthink a lot, even on trivial issues. So that hampers my peace of mind. Secondly, sir, a weakness that I count is that I lack basic skills of life, like cooking or driving or swimming. So these two I count as my weakness, sir.
All right, basic skills like you cooking and driving.
Yes, sir.
So do you stay away from home or do you stay at home right
Sir,
now?
I stay away from home.
How did you not learn cooking? Not even basic cooking?
So because I was in college hostel where I used to get food, and now, sir, domestic help comes to prepare the food.
Because what are the qualities of a good civil servant according to you?
So, firstly, I would say a good civil servant must possess integrity in his personal as well as professional life. He should say what he does and he should do what he says. Secondly, sir, I would say uh, he should have the ability to manage crisis. He should not buckle down in crisis. And so, thirdly, I would say he should be compassionate because a lot of our population is not very well to do.
In Uttar Pradesh, there have been names of certain, and even across the country, we are seeing changes in the names of certain cities and places. Do you support such name changes of cities?
Sir, at the outset, I do not support changing of names because, sir, I believe the changing lives of the people is more important than changing names. And changing names has costs like administrative cost and confusion. So, at the outset, I'm not very much supportive of this. But on the second hand, when the government does this, it might gauge certain demand from these sections of people. So, and I think it is also important to respect the mandate of people and of the government.
All right, Lukash, your interview is over.
Thank you, sir.